Good day, guys. I am Martin Weider, founder and CEO of Weider 360. We create a lot of 3D models using drone images, and over the last year or so, we've been capturing hundreds of 3D models, very different types, very different sizes, very different objects. So I've got a lot of questions from you guys over YouTube, over LinkedIn. How do I capture a house, or how do I capture an object 100% manually? Let's say you have a DJI Mini 4 Pro or drones that can't really do automatic flights like the DJI Matrice 4E, for example, but you still want to create a very nice 3D model. So I want to say that is definitely possible, and I will now walk you through a sample 3D model we created 100% manually because we didn't have RTK, so we couldn't do the automatic flight, right? So let's just jump into the model and take a look at exactly how the images are aligned, how the flight path was, and how we got enough overlap to recreate a very detailed and high quality 3D model. So let's get started. Okay, so first we go to 13d.ai, right? So this is the software which I personally use the most. We've also had some very cool projects with 13D. They've been processing, we've been collecting data. So here we go to the dashboard, and I want to show you this very special church on Greenland, which I scanned. Now, the 3D model is loading, it's taking a bit of time. But yeah, this beautiful 3D model in Greenland was in a very remote village. We didn't have any internet, which meant that we also couldn't connect to RTK. And we had to capture this church 100% manually. So I did it with the DJI Matrice 4E, which is a phenomenal drone for 3D mapping. It can just capture images with a speed of 0.5 seconds, right? So it captures 2 images a second. That is very, very fast. Now, some of the drones you are using might not be able to capture as fast, but that means that the time would just be a bit longer. Okay, so let's just zoom in and see that the 3D model is actually quite decent, right? The quality is very high, and this is due to some very consistent overlap. We've got all the details, we've got all the crosses here, and yeah, especially underneath here, these are also some tricky parts, which we will emphasize in a bit. Okay, so we go, let's open the wide window here. We go to 13D, and then we press images. Now, all the orange dots show exactly where the images were taken. So I want to start from far away, right? So first, you can see far away and up. I believe that we started here, and you can see that the entire church, the entire object is in the frame, right? You can see everything. So this is very important. This orbit from, let's say, 10-15 meters above the object, above the church, is very important, because then you get the rough 3D model. So as you can see, I have, let's go find the images again. I have flown like this. I've started with the orbit, and then I've slowly gone closer, right? Here, and you can see, and I ended right here. So you can also see this is manual because an automated flight would make a more accurate orbit, but that's fine. So now when we've done the orbits, again, this should be done when you're flying manually, but the drone is, you have installed the drone to capture photos with the fastest interval possible. So right, on some drones it is it can take 1 image per second, 1 image per 2 seconds or something. That depends, but yeah, it should be the fastest. Then when you've created the orbit, you really start going into the details, right? So you can see, for example, the roof here. I've taken one column here, and another I've actually taken 4 columns straight on the roof. So let's click on here, for example. Here are the images where you only can see the roof in great detail. Make sure that you have enough overlap. Obviously, it's very hard to say exactly what the percentage of the overlap is when you're flying manually. But after flying a couple of models like that, you will definitely learn and adjust your overlap the next time, right? So these were the 4 rows, for example. This is how you capture a surface. Now we go down. And here when the roof ends and the wall starts, right? So this is quite important. Here actually we have many. In order to get this part, this is very crucial, and you can see there are some holes. This means that I could have done even better, but overall it is quite decent. And this is because, so first of all, I captured images where the drone looks straight on the wall, right here. But I also captured images that look up, right? So this is maybe tilted 20 degrees up or so. So you get the red wall and the roof in the frame. And then after that, the photogrammetry software can figure out and can see under this roof, right? Yeah, similarly, you take the wall. The wall should also have decent overlap. As you can see, I made an entire round actually, where I just took my drone in the hand. It was still capturing, but I just simply walked around the object while the drone was capturing, right? In this way, you get these shots, which include both the ground and the wall. So this is very important because that is basically the time point between the object and the ground itself. You can see I've gone all the way around. This is important for houses and stuff. Yeah, you can see, let's zoom in on this roof. You can see it didn't turn out very accurate because obviously I don't have enough overlap, right? You can see I've practically not captured this close enough. It still turned out good, but definitely not so detailed as the other side of the roof. Okay, so let's move to the front here, the facade. This was quite tricky because, or actually, you can see the pattern here. So I've flown up and down 2 times. One of the times was where the drone was pointing up, tilted maybe 5 to 10 degrees up, I think. And here we get this very important part right under the bridge, right under the roof. And then I also captured when the drone looks down, right? So in that way we get a very nice overlap. Yeah, this detail here, you can also see that many arrows are directed into this, and it turned out quite well, I must say. You can see the details here under the roof, and this is due to these images which were tilted up. So many people, when they capture 3D models manually, they forget to tilt the camera of the drone a bit up, slightly up, and that is very important to do because then you actually get the object captured from all the directions possible. And of course, so the drone can figure out so the drone can figure out more about the geometry and stuff. It is very important to just also create a lot of Nadir photos where the drone camera is tilted 90 degrees down. Let me show you. Yeah, okay. So this series of photos, for example, 9, 6, 4, 2, 1, etc. The camera just focuses on the underneath, so it's tilted 90 degrees down. Probably you can also do that from a bit higher above. Yeah, also another very important aspect. And for the crosses here, because the crosses are probably the most tricky part of this 3D model. We've done a lot of models where for example, half of the cross is just cut away and you can't see it because we haven't done enough overlap. But as you can see here, the reconstruction turned out perfect. And this is because we just created a lot of images pointing exactly on the cross, right? From the up side, from above, very important. So yeah, that is basically also another important thing to do. This facade, this edge, you can see a lot of images are targeting a specific area right under. As you can see, I could have done it even better here. I just didn't have time or forgot to focus on that. Another thing that I can see here as a pattern is that obviously we talked about the orbit from high above, which captures the entire church in the camera frame. But next, it's also important to create these orbits. You can see these orbits, for example, when I click here, where you can see parts of the church and where the camera is tilted a bit downwards. These are also maybe 5 to 6 meters away from the object, and also help recreate the 3D model in a better way. It makes it a lot easier for the software to calculate after that. Creating a 3D model fully manually is a very valuable skill. Before I started capturing 3D models automatically, where the drone was flying autonomously, I had trained a bit manually, and that is also very important because who knows, sometimes you don't have RTK, sometimes your software doesn't work or something, and then it's very valuable just to be able to execute the project manually. If you need more guidance or if you have any more questions regarding 3D models, how to capture them. I have created a couple of specific courses regarding capturing cell towers, which is also a huge part of our services, and capturing bridges, which are also quite complex structures to create a 3D model of. So if you need anything, just shout out, ask me, contact me on LinkedIn and stuff. I would be very happy to help. Actually, this video is recorded for a friend of mine that just asked how he could create a 3D model with his DJI Mini Pro. So that's why I'm doing this. I want to help you guys. Thank you very much and see you.